Hello, everybody. This is David, XRPLion. Giving a shout out to my friend Barry. He's been an invaluable resource, putting a lot of information together since I came to Phoenix on April 3rd, 2021. God placed him here as a resource, and I'm so grateful. But what's important right now? It's all about exchange of value. The understanding of what XRP was chosen to do before time began. Let's talk about Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple. He's presented the phrase exchange of value, and it refers to a transaction or an interaction in which two or more parties are providing something of value to each other. Now, this value can take various forms, such as goods, services, money, information, or even intangible benefits like trust or goodwill. In this current business and economic phase that we're going through right now, the most important thing we're looking at is exchange of value. Why? Let me ask the question again. Why? Consider for a moment that there has to be an intermediate third party able to stand in the gap and provide digital asset collateral in the form of security and a guarantee for both parties involved in any transaction, such that the transaction is a mutual benefit to both parties. Brad Garlinghouse has come out and said nobody else in the world offers exchange of value. This goes back to January 10th of 2021. What does it mean? Nobody else in the world offers exchange of value. It means there is no face-to-face competition for Ripple. And as such, there never will be. Why? Because the main advantage Ripple has as the fiduciary for the XRP token, nobody else has it. Nobody else has it. XRP is the bridge that brings together transactions and liquidity, plain and simple. The global economy, as we move forward, moving away and out of the Federal Reserve fractionalized fiat currency system, moves us into a 100% gold asset-backed currency standard. As a country and as a world that never existed before, 209 nations called the BRICS nations came together in 2015 to sign what's called the BRICS Accord. That was their understanding and agreement that they were walking away from a fiat currency-based monetary system. It wasn't going to be available. It wasn't going to be desirable. It wasn't going to be how they chose for their countries to operate going forward. It's been a well-guarded secret, and here's why. David Schwartz, the CTO of Ripple, the fiduciary of the XRP token, said in November 20th, 2017, if XRP costs $1 million, they'd need one XRP that cost $1 million. Why is that important? Because as we move forward in this digital asset currency standard. XRP is the master key. It bridges both the third dimension and the fifth dimension. Now, I don't want you to be do not be considered cut. Don't be concerned with how the system works. Just understand that you will be taught how to work within the system. Plain and simple. This is a genius. David Schwartz is a genius. Nobody could pick up on what he was talking about. He went on to say if banks were to adopt Ripple, which means they purchase XRP, why would they not want to keep the market price of XRP low? If XRP is finite, meaning it can't be mined, and it can't, they mined 1 billion tokens, 100 billion tokens. They mined 100 billion tokens. Cut. They mined a total of 100 billion tokens. That's it. The price of XRP would need to be the price of XRP that you would need would be 100 cut. If banks were to adopt Ripple, and we're not talking about banks, we're talking about the U.S. Treasury Department here. All the banks have been pulled under the U.S. Treasury Department. They're in control. So if XRP is finite, which it is, can't be mined anymore, they only mined 100 billion tokens. That 100 billion tokens times $1. Cut. The price of XRP you need to make a $1 million payment would have to be at least $1 million. This is my calculation using binary base 10 math, was to arrive at the amount of liquidity that the entire global financial system would need in order to operate at its fullest between now and 2030 with $100 trillion of liquidity every second of every day. That amount was determined to be $100 quadrillion. When I divide that by 100 billion minted XRP, the result is a valuation of XRP of $1 million. Plain and simple. That value does not change unless the amount of global liquidity changes. So when global liquidity goes up after 2030, the value for an XRP token to do what it does will go up. All this is being handled through the BRICS nations right now, who've all come into one accord back in 2015. Good morning, everyone. This is David. It's Tuesday, and I've got a surprise video here. The Lord had me go back and put something together called The Final Door with regards to the Redemption Center appointment. And it's just really important that everybody be prepared. And I'm going to tell you why. I got some information yesterday, the day before, that on the 2nd of May, they were ready to kick off the EBS alert, just as the clue had said. But there was a situation that arose that the deep state was trying to pull some funny business, and they had to take care of them. But that's been dealt with. Much was discovered, which allowed them to put in additional protocols. Matter of fact, I saw somebody over on Before It's News with a video about six security vehicles moving on the freeway at night. It's a big diesel tractor trailer, escorted front and rear. And somebody had taken the video and said, you know, it looks like a transformer. And of course it was at night and they were some distance away trying to ascertain exactly what it was, and that was as close as they could get. Well, that was one of the things that they were planning on doing, was using this technology to hijack transformers. So one of them must have gone down or suffered a catastrophic failure, as they prevented it from being used against the quantum financial system. And here we go. So we're ready to kick this thing off, people. And I just felt in my heart, and the Lord felt that people weren't grasping the seriousness of the Redemption Center appointment. So I put together a short slide presentation. And as the cover slide says, you're going to learn what the top 3 mistakes are that you have to avoid, which affect NESARA, QFS, XRP, and XRPL. And then we have the exchange and redemptions for Dinar, Dong, Bolivar, and the Zim bond. So there's a lot of information coming out right now that I put out, and I've seen some other people put out some relevant information with regards to a few serious things. I won't go into any great detail on the other things that they were putting out. We're going to stay focused on Redemption Center appointment. That's what's most important. Because you only get one shot at this to show why you're chosen, why God chose you. So let's jump right into it. Excuse me for my mouse kind of going crazy on me. Redemption Center protocols, key public education slides. That's what I did. I put these together for people. Okay, slide number 1, Redemption Center protocols. What you must know before your appointment. And again, in the last 2 videos that I put together, you can't take this lightly. You can't. This is the final exam. And I know people are tired. I'm tired. I haven't felt this level of fatigue or not being able to recuperate as fast as I used to. And I just chalk that up to the Schumann resonance. So it's okay to be tired. It's okay to not be as energetic. A lot of people just have lost their enthusiasm from what I'm seeing. There's a lot of sarcasm. There's a lot of paid influencers out there trying to distract people. And this is what I want to make sure that you're not falling victim to this distraction. Remember, thoughts are things. And the words that come out of your mouth either give life or they give death. So you need to avoid negative comments because you have to be free of that bondage when you go into the Redemption Center. Okay? So I'm the leading expert in the quantum financial system. Why? Number 1, I was in the meeting with Dan Rostenkowski in 1994. I've waited 31 years for this. I've followed it. I've analyzed it. I put in the time. Other people haven't put in the time. They just want to take the information I'm putting out there and make it look like it's their own. And they're only cheating themselves. and the people that are listening to him. And believe me, people are going to remember this when it's all said and done. But I'm here to guide you through this process for the quantum financial system. There isn't better information that you're going to find out there. I was amazed. I mean, I just spent a few minutes reading some comments. And people were like, well, do you have any proof? Do you have any links? Where did this information come from? It's like, came from the Lord. Everything you're seeing is exactly what he provided to me over days and weeks and months. I've gone in and vetted it. Isn't it amazing how much of what he's already had me put out there, they're coming right back and confirming. Operation White Swan and a lot of other items. See, they can't deny it anymore. They can't figure out who I am, what I am, or why I am, because they don't have a relationship with the Father. And that's where all this comes from. It's his plan. It's his purpose. He's the one that made it so. And he has Trump and the Military Global Alliance, along with Space Force and the Galactic Federation, doing the hands-on work. But evil's over with, everyone. Eradicated. It's terminate on sight in these operations that they're doing right now. Termination on sight. We're not going to put you in handcuffs and haul you away, take you to Gitmo, read you your charges, and then terminate you. We don't have time for that. They already know what the charges are. They've already seen the indictments. So it's termination on site. So we don't have to worry about that. But we have to make sure that we are speaking positive. We're not allowing the fatigue. So there's no disappointment. And let me address that for a moment. Okay? April 15th, 1994. It was a Friday. I sat in that room waiting for Dan Rostenkowski, the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, who had to stop by and tell us about what he knew. He wasn't in Los Angeles just to see us. He was there for other business, and he saw that we were having a continuing education conference, and he got a hold of the gentleman who was hosting it and said, hey, do you mind if I stop by for a little bit? I'm going to be racing to catch a plane to get back to D.C., but I know I have some information that people are going to want to hear about. It was almost like the last rites. I have to tell somebody about this. And boy, did he drop the bomb about everything that was going to be done. But we had to wait 30 years. Well, 30 years was last year in April. But there were some delays. And that extra 13 months, interesting it's 13, was critical to make sure that nothing was going to come back from the dead. I mean, the only one that can do that was Jesus. Yahusha. God in the flesh. So here's what you must know. You must know. Proverbs 16:3. Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. I have never doubted for one moment anything that I've been told by the Lord. I committed unto him. And because of that, all the thoughts have been established. I'm not bouncing around from one day to the next going, is it going to happen? Oh no, they said this. Heck no. I remember being in Texas during the 2016 election for President Trump. And I remember there was a moment when the enemy tried to get me to give up holding on to him becoming president. And I felt it coming. And at that moment I said, hell no. Get behind me, Satan. And within a minute, everything shifted. All of a sudden, They started naming states for Trump, one after the other. And the people at Fox News were just like, what the heck is going on? What just happened? And I knew that moment was pivotal because I was not going to give up what he had already said and what his plan was. So I'm encouraging everyone out there, do not relinquish. It is time to finish strong. Just like the angel of the Lord told Daniel when he finally made it after 21 days. And Daniel never lost sight of continuing to give the Lord praise and thanksgiving for what he had already done. Daniel was just waiting for it to show up. And he was wary. And the angel of the Lord, when he finally got there, I'm going to paraphrase, it was like, Daniel, thank you so much for not having given up on what you had given the Lord praise and thanksgiving for, having already done. Because had you, I would have been called back with that which you had already given praise and thanksgiving for, that which had already been laid up in heaven for you. So remember that, okay? Don't let anybody sway you, try to take it away from you, because that's all they're doing. They're trying to take it away from you. And that's why I did this short video. So you have a spine of steel, and you're not letting anybody take what God has already created for you, because it's His time on earth. He is not good, He is great. And He's already declared we are to be great stewards of these finances that He has provided for us. The restoration, the repatriation, everything. The money for the humanitarian projects. There's going to be a couple things in here I just want to reinforce for everybody. This isn't a slam dunk. You have to do your part. And you have to get yourself prepared so that nothing is going to deter you from that which is yours. It doesn't matter what's going on around you. It's already there. Nasar Jasar have already been activated. The fiat currency system has been shut down. It's dead. They went in and seized all the servers from the Federal Reserve. They're over. There's no more putting money into the magic computers. There's no more printing of money. We are already transferred over to our new quantum financial system with 100% gold asset-backed currency standard, with XRP as the master key, given a valuation not based on the fiat system, not based on market cap, not based on some chartist who wants to compare it with 27 other tokens, not some paid influencer who is looking for a reason for it to pump, pump, pump. Mr. Zach, Mr. Mickle, all paid influencers, talking heads. They're not there for your benefit. They're there to distract you, to lead you astray. I'm here doing this so you know what's real, what His truth is, so you maximize your appointment. Okay? Next, this is a one-time redemption window. You only get one chance, and it will not ever return again. And I see information out there that isn't vetted. It's coming from the same talking heads that were apprehended excuse me, for nefarious currency sales. We're part of the 200,000 cast of characters. They're playing their role, and their role is about to expire. And they're still slinging crap. You can't say in one instance, oh, Tier 4B, we're going to get notification to go get our redemption done. And we haven't even gone through the 3 plus 10 days. It's like they're just screwing with you. They're trying to see how gullible people are. Desperate, okay? You're not desperate. To mess them up. Mess up their head. Now, they have to account for that. God's going to hold them accountable for that, okay? Because they're messing with his chosen. And that has to stop today. I don't want to see that anymore. I don't want to see the contradictions. Don't put anything out there if you can't provide the truth, okay? Redemption Center appointments are voluntary but final, okay? You're going there to claim the money in your Quantum Access account. You're going there if you have Zim bonds. You're going there if you have currencies to exchange. There's a couple other things you really have to pay attention to. Okay? We didn't have time to cover this in the last video. We know that the XRP that you hold, okay, you hold it on, let's say, a Ledger Nano. You moved it out of an exchange folder, right? Because the XRPL is just a big filing cabinet, and there's folders in there. You originally had a folder that had your name on it, and then places like Uphold, Binance, Coinbase, they took your segregated account and aggregated it. So they took everybody's folder that had their name on it with their XRP purchases and dumped it into their folder so they could play with it, so they could stake it, so they could make money on it. Well, that's all being paid back. Whatever they made staking it, they're not getting to keep. God is very adamant about that. They used our XRP for their own nefarious self-dealing and self-interest. God's not letting them keep the profits. And I would be imagining they're going to have issues trying to get to the Redemption Center, to the point where I think they're just going to throw in the towel. They know they're headed to the lake of fire, and they don't care. But their assets have already been seized. It's like trying to say, oh, BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, oh, they're doing business with XRP. No, they're not. That's the narrative. Well, they're being shut down. Well, their assets are all being confiscated under the executive orders that Trump signed. Most people have no idea how serious all this was, especially the paid influencers. Because remember, their job is to distract. Their job is to keep you from knowing what you know now here. Okay, but here's what I want you to understand. We know it's being mirrored into your Quantum Access account. There will be information that's provided when it comes time to set up the Redemption Center appointment with your 800 number. They will already know if you have XRP. I've heard they're going to ask us to bring our Nano and one passphrase to verify. Well, we all need to go one step above that. Bring your folder with your accounting that shows every single transaction you made to acquire. Maybe you sold some at a higher price and then you bought it back when it was lower. Have all those records, okay? It's just like an accounting system where you show what went into your bank account, what went out, what it was for. You want to have that with you. What does that do? It shows it's yours. Once you accept the buyback, there's no need to keep the Nano anymore. So they'll probably ask us to turn that in. But they're not there to give guidance. Okay? This is a test of your alignment. Okay, so you're going to verify your balance. You already know you're going to enter your desired price per XRP and whole dollars only. So you're not going to put in, $7.52. You're going to put $7, $8, $12, $25. That's what the people that don't know, you're going to put $1 million per XRP if you want to. You don't have to. You have free will, but that's the calculated value. And that ties back to what David Schwartz has already said. If you decline the offer or you put something less than the maximum, You can't go back and change your mind or try to redeem at a higher price in the future. And there won't be any markets, open markets, because they'll all be permanently closed. Matthew 25:10. And they that were ready went in with him to the marriage. And the door was shut. And that's what God is saying. You're coming into my plan for my purpose. You're being given this information. Whether you choose to use it, that's up to you. But once you come in, the door's shut. It's permanent. XRP is not what most think, and that's what you've learned. It's not just an asset. It's a divine appointment. XRP is not a speculative cryptocurrency. It is the master key of the quantum financial system. Using all of the gold that was seized from the Vatican tunnels and the other nefarious elites, Rothschild, etc., it's 100% gold backed. They have enough gold already assayed, certified, and blockchain identified to last 750 years. They don't need retail gold. XRP as the master key provides limitless quantum liquidity. And this is the part that people didn't understand because they're not addressing the quantum financial system. Okay? All 209 nations around the world signed on to Nasara Jasara, the quantum financial system, gold-backed currency for their country, at par with the US dollar, 1-to-1. And there had to be a certain amount of quantum global liquidity reserves so that as people are spending, they're using their quantum phone, they're using their quantum laptop, they're using their quantum debit card, and they're going to the store, they're going on vacations and trips, they're buying homes and cars and other things that they need. Every single one of those transactions is supported by XRP, being digital asset collateral. And because it's digital asset collateral, it's providing the security and the guarantee for every global transaction. Just think about it. No one is thinking about quantum and all the transactions, being paid by daily, being paid by the hour, being paid by the minute or the second. Every single one of those transactions goes through XRP on the XRPL 5D, and XRP has to be able to provide that collateral for the transaction to go through. It already has all the protocols to stop the transaction and as you learned, as the AI determines that something's wrong, there's a nefarious motive, etc. So all that just gets done automatically, okay? But you still have to remember that XRP, in its role, requires a specific amount of quantum global liquidity reserves to process all of these transactions instantaneously. And that was one of the things I had to do. I went in and tested it on all 209 BRICS nations using their GDP and then advancing their GDP. I used 8.5% going from now until 2030, and then after that, 22.5% every 3.2 years. Why? Because they have the money to spend too. They're getting their Jasara. And this whole thing about tariffs was just Trump working it all out so they wouldn't take advantage of us because we hold the lion's share of the global capital reserves for what we're going to spend. You may be doing, let's just say, an average of 2 or 3 transactions per day right now. Well, once you have your quantum access account with tens of millions of billions of trillions of dollars in there, you're probably going to have 30 to 50 transactions per day. And this is the missing component for people in the fiat system. They're still caught up in the fiat system, not knowing it's over. And they don't understand quantum, so they don't go there. They just think quantum is like this cool word for super fast. No, it goes way beyond that. Way beyond that. Okay? So Isaiah 22:22. And the key of the house of David will I lay upon his shoulder, so he shall open, and none shall shut. And he shall shut, and none shall open. That's XRP, the master key. It does everything without needing anybody else's help. It does it automatically. 90% of the holders are unaware. Most people holding XRP don't know about Nussara Jassara, have never heard of the quantum financial system. So in the first one, they have no idea they have a quantum access account, and they're going to receive all this money from the Lord, restoration. They're still being told that XRP is about cross-border payments. DAI Investor, Bradley Kimes, Claver, all of these people, paid influencers, paid to deceive, paid to keep people from knowing the truth. Have no relationship with the Lord. So what's going to happen with these people? They're going to enter the redemption values that are far below its divine purpose. This is where somebody's going to come in and put $10 for XRP. And you know what? God bless them, because they're getting exactly what is on their heart. That's what the Lord said. Dave, I have to give them free will, but guess where that value on their heart comes from? From Him. So it's all good. They get to be the millionaires that they want, but God has other plans for us. Okay? What's my role here? To help you awaken before it's too late. So you're not sitting there after the fact, and 6 months to a year down the road, you're like, wait a minute. That guy on Twitter was right? The one that everybody attacked? That everybody tried to take out? Cussed him out in their little groups? Got other people to follow them, monkeys, to help them with their narcissistic agenda? Oh well. Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. I've been putting it up on the signpost so everybody could see it, not wavering, even though that there were those people trying to downplay the truth. And they'll have to deal with God on that themselves. I don't judge them. My mission, to prepare others to walk into their appointment fully aware. And you can do whatever you want. I'm not holding your feet to the fire saying, you better do this. No, you do what you're comfortable with. And if at a later point in time you come to the realization of the truth, what the Lord has had me putting out there since April 3rd of 2021, rejoice. It wasn't for you. It was for somebody else. It's like leaving the 99 to save the one. So I'm here to teach the divine role of XRP in God's kingdom economy. None of this would have ever been possible if it wasn't for Him, having already created this before time began, before we became flesh and blood. He saw the whole thing play out. Ezekiel 33:6. But if the watchmen see the sword come, and blow not the trumpet, his blood will I require at the watchman's hand. Meaning, for the people that wouldn't direct people to the truth because they made it about themselves, they deal with God. God will require of them at the watchman's hand. Summary, slide. Prepare others to walk into their appointments fully aware. The area of focus, the one-time redemption. No second chances. Remember I said, you don't get a second chance to make a perfect first impression. So you're going to dress appropriately. You're going to polish your dress shoes. You're going to wear dark socks. And if you need to, go buy some dark socks that go all the way up your calf so they don't fall down. And you're sitting there trying to pull your socks up. you're now understanding XRP, where most people have no idea what they're holding. They just think it's a token that at some point it's going to pump, right, Zach? No, it's not going to do anything until the EBS goes off, the buyback is done, and it's already established. It's kind of like I did a post today on Circle. Okay. I remember seeing something when I first came over to Twitter, and there was something going on with Circle and XRP. And the way I remember it, it was like, okay, they had to go off and start Circle as a stable coin for what they were doing. Had nothing to do with Ripple. Well, that was created for the fiat world. That world's over. Just like Tether. It's over. There's no reason for an acquisition of Circle. Just like there's no reason for an acquisition of Hidden Road. There is no commodities. There is no cryptocurrencies. There is no stock market. There's no trading. Period. It's all just part of a narrative to keep people distracted. Why? Because the moment they mention something, the paid influencers come out, pump. Once this happens, and they just look more foolish every single time. And they just buy right into it. And they won't talk about the QFS. They won't talk about the Lord. They won't talk about XRP as the master key. They won't talk about the XRPL 5D. Because they want the money to be a paid influencer to not tell people. Okay? That's on them. How do you get into the redemption center when that's in your heart and you were just deceiving people? They have a lot of work to do if they want in. I think it's too much for most of them. They don't see it coming. Revelation 3:11, behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Okay? They came after me for years, but I just handed them over to Daddy. He's my protector. He took care of them, and they're paying the price for it. And many of them are going to pay the ultimate price. They're not coming through. But see, that's not you. You stayed loyal to him. You received his message. You've patiently waited, and you've held fast to his word. Okay? Here's the number one most common mistake. Do not enter a price based on speculation or market charts. XRP is not a speculative token. Most people will enter 10, 100, or 10,000 based on the Twitter hype from the paid influencers, the YouTube influencers. We know who they are. The ones trying to put on conferences that are not going to happen in Las Vegas. Outdated fiat systems. When I say outdated, I mean like terminated. They're no longer viable. This is a divine appointment, not a financial transaction. Okay? And I'm, like I said before, I'm very concerned for people that see this as a financial transaction. Okay? Well, when are we going to get to the redemption center? I want my money. Well, why do you want your money? Because I want to get started on my humanitarian projects. Well, and that's a common theme with a lot of people. And I'm not judging. This is where we just have to REST, resist every stupid thought. Now, if there's other stuff going on in a person's life, they lost their job or their retirement funds have been depleted, well, that's a different story. You take that to the Father. Why? Because he already knows what's going on. He'll take care of you. He's your provider. He's your protector. And you must know what XRP truly is to enter its true value. And this is its true value. And it's not based on market cap. It's based on its purpose and function on the XRPL as the master key, controlling the flow of quantum global liquidity reserves for every transaction, every second of the day, from anybody using the QFS. Nobody's talking about that. Well, I've been talking about it, so you know. but people don't know. Oh, at the bank. Oh, it's it's for cross-border payments. Wrong. And you all took the master's class, so you all know. You're the most educated people out there. You could teach a course. It's a test of spiritual discernment and sovereign knowing. Boy, when I typed that out, it was like, oh, Lord, thank you. That's it in a nutshell right there. Discernment and knowing. This isn't about money. And if you think it's just about money, you picked up the wrong message. Put that message down and pick up the message about the spiritual discernment and the sovereign knowing. Because why did God have us here at this time in history, the most divine time in the history of mankind, to be a great steward of his resources for humanity and the children? The children are our legacy. We're the ones forging the path. They're the ones 250 to 500 years down the road are going to welcome in the second coming. So we're on that 1,000 years of peace. Cool. Again, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. There's no reason why you lack knowledge. But you can't go out there searching to get a different answer than what you already know to be true. Because then you're double-minded. And what does the word say? A double-minded person gets nothing. In that moment, when I sat in that hotel room in Texas, and the enemy wanted me to give up on Trump, and I just couldn't, because God already told me he was going to be our president. Now, did I go out there and publicly tell that to everybody I knew? No, I kept that between us. But when the enemy tried to take that away, I wasn't going to have it. The second most common mistake, forgetting to bring verification or access credentials. Okay? We talked about that. I think we're going to have to bring one of our seed phrases, one of the 24. We're not going to write them all down on a piece of paper and bring it with us. We're not going to do that. The QFS still requires human demonstration of sovereignty and readiness. Now here's the kicker. We need to have proof with us. You can go into your Ledger Live and take a screenshot of how many XRP you have. So you want to be there with confidence. When they show you that screen and it says that you have 42,500 XRP, you shouldn't be pausing and saying, well, let me think about that for a minute. How many do I have? No, you've already rehearsed your line. Your line is, that is exactly correct. I have my paper ledger to substantiate every single transaction I made on Uphold or Coinbase or Binance. So I have a paper ledger. I have a screenshot from my Ledger Live for what is on my Ledger Nano that I created that account, having reclaimed it from Uphold, etc. So there's no wavering. It's like, this person knows what they have. Hallelujah. So you're gonna be the exception to the rule, and that's what I strongly desire that be us. We're going to be known as the ones who were so prepared. We knew what to bring. We knew what to say. We knew how to act. We knew all the requirements. And we weren't just getting information that wasn't summarized. It was just, well, somebody said something in a video about this or that. Yeah, I think they said this. Baloney. You're going to screen capture these slides. You're going to check it off that you have it. You're going to have everything in order, right? You can't redeem what you can't prove is yours. You're not going to say, well, that seems a little low because, I think I have like an extra 25,000 and a few extras that I have over at Uphold. They don't know that. That's in an aggregated account. in their name. You just have a little designation number for Uphold's records, where it sits in their folder, like a subfolder. Third most common mistake: bringing a spirit of greed or hidden agenda. Absolutely a no-no. You won't even get through the front door after you have all of your currency and bonds verified. Some will see this as a financial payout, not a divine appointment, but that's not you. Others are going to bring selfish, manipulative, or dark intentions because they still think they're going to operate as they did in the fiat world. You're not going into the new kingdom economy to manage people's money. That's right there. That's selfish. That's manipulative. That's a dark intention. The QFS is frequency-based and reads the heart and soul, not just the numbers. Now, this one jumped out at me. I was like, whoa, forgot to put that in the other slide. Redemption with the wrong spirit may be denied outright. The frequency of your heart will speak louder than the price you enter. Whew. I need to be posting that up every single day for people to see. The frequency of your heart will speak louder than the price you enter. Doesn't matter for me what anybody says. I've already done the work. God's already led me down that path to verify and proof everything. It's already been vetted by third parties in the evaluation committee. I don't waver. You were chosen to lead. You must be prepared. Guard your truth. Guard the truth. Don't let anybody try to take it away from you. If they can get you to give up a $1 million price tag for $10 and you let them, shame on you. If you're still following these talking heads and you know who they are, why? You don't owe them anything. They've made plenty of money on you. Getting paid by YouTube, running dual YouTube accounts, one for this person, one for that person, just using the same material to manipulate and take money from YouTube twice. That's their heart. They can't write the check for a conference. They got to have everybody else pay for it. They can't bring the people with the truth because they're paid not to. But we'll all get together. I know that. But they won't be coming because they're not in alignment. And once that EBS goes off, those doors are closed. You either were or you weren't. Isaiah 61, arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. Take the time. Like I said, this was all supposed to kick off on May 2nd, and it got held back. Any day. But get prepared, okay? I love you. I want you to be all that you can be. That's what God's heart is for you. So with that, have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week. I don't see any more videos coming out at this point. I think we're there. You have everything that you need. I reposted some information from the summary pages yesterday. It's pinned in my profile page. So God bless you. Take care. Bye-bye.